Now I'm going to start over. Welcome to Answer's Partyline. With me in studio, we have Dennis Fuchs, administrator with the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District. Woohoo! Dave Rose, district conservationist with the Natural Resources Conservation Service.
Hello.
And we also have Chuck Uphoff, and he is a guinea pig. No, you're not a...
Well, yeah,
You're kind of a guinea pig? Is that
I'm a guinea pig.
kind of the deal? Chuck Uphoff. And what I mean is, he is, how do I put this, Chuck? You're part of the Minnesota Agricultural Water Quality Certification. It's Monday, okay?
Yeah.
Minnesota Agricultural Water Quality Certification Program. That's correct, right?
That is correct. I'm also a dairy farmer right outside New Munich and chair of the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District.
So you've got all sorts of titles.
Sure.
A lot of hats.
A lot of hats.
And he's not wearing any of them today.
He's very casual today.
Yeah.
That's right.
Chuck, how did you...
Just for radio.
Dennis, is it okay if we start with Chuck, or do you have some other things you would like to do
No,
here?
this is one of the things we wanted to talk about. This is
Okay.
pretty exciting. Chuck's the first
He's the first.
in the pilot area to be certified with the Water Quality Certification Program.
The first and only, or just the first?
The first of many, I hope.
First of many. The starting.
That's right.
Yes.
Starting point. We got to
starting
start
point.
somewhere.
So how'd you get involved, Chuck, with this whole deal?
Well, this is actually an MOU between EPA and Department of Agriculture and the governor from the state of Minnesota, Mark Dayton. And they wanted to test 4 pilot areas across the state of Minnesota. And just so happens that the Middle Sauk was selected as one of the pilot areas that they wanted to have as part of this program. So with that process, I decided, well, I've been in a lot of conservation programs before, and this is a pretty tough program to get into, although it is, there's EQIP funds and everything available for it. So anyway, I decided to give it a shot and see if I could qualify for it. And what it gives me is a 10-year exemption from any rules or regs that EPA or USDA or whatever would come down with. And so I have that exemption now, and that's kind of the process that I use to get.
Sounds like you can be a rebel. You can do what you want.
I can do whatever I want for 10 years. This is the greatest thing in the world.
Well, what does it actually mean as far as what kind of freedoms do you have then?
Well, that is basically it. I mean, other than that, you have to make sure that you are doing water quality projects and supplying water quality benefits for the environment. Whatever that may be. What really helped me get in it is I'm starting to put cover crops in. So last year I put about 50 acres in. This year I'm planning on putting about 80 acres of cover crops in. And all these conservation measures are what help you get into the program.
So did you have to compete for it, or is it pretty much you were the chosen one?
No, I'm never the chosen one.
Unless it's time to buy.
You're chosen. You always want to buy. But no, I mean, it's something you just apply for.
Okay.
And every farmer in the Middle Sauk, which actually runs from Melrose down to Cold Spring, is able to get into this program as I was able to get in it. And there are a lot of other applicants. I'm not sure exactly how many. Dennis probably has a better idea than I do. But there are other people that are applying for this, and some that are very close to getting in.
So how many others are there, Dennis?
Well, there's over 800 producers in the Middle Sauk itself, and there's probably another 60 or so that are signed up to be evaluated. Mark Lefebvre in our office is the person that will run the Water Quality Ag Index tool on their farm. And in order to get certified, you have to get a certain score. And this Water Quality Ag Index goes from 0 to 10, and you have to get 8.5 or higher. And, Chuck, he's an outstanding conservationist back, was it 99? And, and another farmer that's working on through the certification process, Ken Sheffers and his brother are working on this, also an outstanding conservationist. And both of these guys had to do some additional things to get that score up to 8.5. So it's definitely a tool that recognizes the value of cover crops and some of these other conservation practices. And looking at the landscape, I think we got a lot of opportunity to do some more of this out there for folks to get certified.
How soon before you actually start certifying others for this?
We're in the process right now.
Oh, okay.
Mark LaFave has been visiting with farmers nonstop. Chuck just happened to be the first guy in the Middle Sock, and I think he's second person in the state of Minnesota to be certified through the Minnesota Department of Ag. So we actually had a couple folks from the Minnesota Department of Ag out at Chuck's farm last week. And Matt Woolman from the Minnesota Department of Ag, he's the assistant commissioner, myself, and also Paul Helgeson with Golden Plump. Golden Plump recognizes the value of farmers doing the water quality certification program. It enhances their production system and also protects the environment. And they want to encourage more farmers to participate. So in the Middle Sauk area, they're providing like a $5 an acre incentive for farmers that get certified because they buy a lot of the corn and soybeans from these producers. So they have been a great supporter. So Paul was there, myself, and a couple other folks from the Department of Ag, and we had a little signing ceremony out on Chuck's farm.
Okay. Is there a certain number that you're looking for, or like a cap, or is the sky the limit here when it comes to?
Yeah, right now there's 4 pilot areas throughout Minnesota, and we were fortunate enough to have the Middle Sauk here in Stearns chosen as one of the pilot areas. And like I said, we got over 800 producers. I'd love to see every producer at least come in and have the tool run on their farm and see where they're sitting. And I kind of look at that 8.5 like having a speedometer in your car or your snowmobile or your four-wheeler just to know how fast you're going. You don't know if you're going fast enough or slow enough unless you got some type of gauge telling you what you're doing. So when the public says, well, the farmers need to do more, well, how much is enough? And 8.5 is enough. That's where we're setting the score right now. That's where the bar has been set. And we're, as part of the pilot process, is to make sure that 8.5 provides us enough environmental quality improvement and still get farmers to participate. And I think it's a pretty high bar right now, and it's something that we're going to continue to evaluate over time. And what we're trying to do, you hear about impaired waters and the total maximum daily loads. This lake is impaired for nutrients. Well, what we're trying to do is to get farmers to run the water quality certification tool, the Water Quality Ag Index, and be part of the water quality certification program so that we can work toward getting them that 8.5 score. Once they get the 8.5, we're very confident that we're going to see water quality improvement over time. And that's why the EPA, NRCS, and the state of Minnesota aren't going to be bringing any additional regulations to farmers that are certified because they're at a very high level of performance already.
So they don't need to be regulated?
Correct.
Because they're already to that standard?
Well, yeah, I think the understanding that folks need to understand is that, like, Chuck's now certified. Mm-hmm. What that means is that over the next 10 years, as there may be changes to the rules that farmers that are not certified would have to meet the new standards, Chuck will be able to keep following the standards that are on the books today. He doesn't have to change his operation, for instance, if new rules or regulations are enacted. So there's a benefit over a 10-year period.
I also think, part of the program or process is that, it's not, the 10-year exemption is fine. It's great. Say if a rule does come down next year or the year after. So it gives me 8 or 9 years then to prepare for this rule, whatever I'd have to do on the farm. I think that means more than actually the quote-unquote 10-year exemption.
Yep.
It gives you a chance to say, what kind of different opportunities or alternatives am I going to have in those 10 years? What new conservation measures are going to come up that I can use during that period of time? And I think the other thing that's important about it is if you have grass-fed beef or anything like that on your farm or any type of product, you are selling a value product to a consumer. And I think the consumers are very interested in knowing where their product comes from. And if they know it's a conservation-minded person, I think that's a real plus. And I think you're going to see more of that in the future.
Okay. I got about a minute before I got to take a news break. So, Chuck, is this more of a discovery process for you? Are you going to have to, in these 10 years, be part of that creative process, coming up with maybe different techniques for water conservation and better ways to do things and that kind of thing?
Those are things I've already done in the last 20 or 30 years. I'm constantly looking at new ways to conserve, new ways, different types of funding, different types of processes and techniques to use on my farm to enhance my conservation. And I think that is probably the key to it.
Okay.
When we come back, we can talk a little bit about the public-private nonprofit partnership of making the water quality certification program succeed in the Middle Sauk.
We'll do that in just a couple minutes. We've got news coming up next at 9:30. Also markets, weather, all up next on Answers Partyline 2. After the break, it's Chasm Radio, your dependable neighbor.
Live from the Chasm Studios at 9:30 a.m. The gold standard in news. Chasm Total Information News now.